HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Go to Bambi.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambi.com. Type in Accelerate.
I have PenFed, that's a fact.
I have PenFed, that's a fact.
My credit card purchases get me cash back.
My credit card purchases get me cash back.
No one else gets these rewards.
Sergeant, that is just plain untrue.
What in tarnation?
Sir, PenFed's Paracash Rewards Card isn't just for military members. Anyone can get cash back on all purchases.
Ah, Figgins! You've ruined my favorite song.
PenFed Credit Union. Visit PenFed.org/PowerCash. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth with your host, Diane Helbig. Diane is a leading small business development and leadership coach, author, and speaker who is passionate about sharing valuable ideas, tips, and techniques with business professionals worldwide. Diane brings you the world's experts and gurus in all things business, whether it's sales, structure, social media, planning, or plateauing. Guests bring their expertise and energy to each episode. When growing your business is your focus, Accelerate Your Business Growth is the show to listen to. Got a topic or guest suggestion? Let Diane know. The goal is to make sure you have the information you need to move your business forward. Thanks for joining us. Settle in and enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's podcast is sponsored by Audible.com. Audible.com, as you know, is a leading provider of spoken audio entertainment and information. They definitely have audiobooks. I think most of us are aware of that, but they have so much more. And you can get a free trial so that you can check it out for yourself and explore by going to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth. I have been very fortunate over the years to be able to talk to some incredible people who have just great expertise in a variety of areas of business, and they are gracious enough to join me for a conversation where they share that expertise. And that has positioned the Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast to really gain recognition as a great resource for small business owners, sales professionals, business leaders, and the like. And today is no different. My guest today is Mike Weiss. Pioneer of e-learning, Mike continues to revolutionize the digital education industry through his company, Client Engagement Academy. Founding the company in 2016, Mike recognized the need for tools that would increase client engagement, encourage student success, and help online course creators. Since that time, Client Engagement Academy has become the go-to resource for anyone looking to start, grow, and scale profitable online courses, membership sites, and online coaching and consulting businesses. Thanks so much for joining me today, Mike.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, and hello to your amazing audience.
Well, thank you. I know that, especially given the situation we are in, this is a very timely topic. Um, Tell me, I'm really curious about this whole online, membership sites and online courses. I'm currently trying to create content so that I can create online courses. So I would really love to know, what your thoughts are on the value of creating membership sites and courses.
Okay. Well, that's a great question. And I think what we should do is go back in time and do a brief history of online education and membership sites. So when people first knew about the internet as a way to distribute information, there were people that created courses. And you bought the course, they would send you an email with 10 links to 10 lessons. And then there you go. You would be in learning mode. However, they quickly found out that that person could forward that email with those links to 100 of their friends, and there goes the business of online education. So the next thing they did was create a membership site. So you would buy the course, you would get a login and password, and inside the login and password, you would get access to those 10 same links. And while that was a better solution, they quickly realized that when you give everyone access to everything at once, that means everyone will do nothing. Yes. So the next thing that came out was the big move in online education, but I also call it one of the biggest failures in online education. And that is creating a course, giving someone a login and password, and then, once a week dripping one lesson out. So you're controlling the flow of information and hopefully getting people to eat the bite-sized chunks and then learn. And while on the surface, that seems like a better plan than the fire hose effect, where you give everyone everything and they do nothing, what it automatically does is cause basically a discrepancy from the buyer, in the sense that when you're selling this course, you're not telling them that you are going to torture them for 10 weeks and only giving them one lesson a week. So you have an inconsistency when someone buys, because then they're like, well, I want the course, but no, now I have to wait. The second thing that happens is, a third of your buyers will be type A's, like me. And if I see something, I want to learn it, I'm going to want to do that rather quickly and put it into action. So if I take the first lesson and then have to wait 6 more days until the second lesson, I'm either going to refund, I'm going to do a chargeback, or I'm never going to come back. So the history of online education is ever evolving because it's a new industry. But when we look at the data, it's a $250 billion industry growing at 17% per year, which is all good. That will accelerate now because of what we're going through. Only 3% of the world's education is digitized. So that part is going to accelerate. New education will be only digitized. That's going to accelerate it. So that's all super powerful. That makes it the place that we want to be. However, if we do it like people are doing it today, then we'll see the results that people are getting today, which are abysmal. Only 3 to 12% of the people that buy online education actually finish. 3 to 12%. So we see 88 to 97% of the people buying something because they want an outcome and failing. Now, in the monthly membership, that same dismal number is reflected by how many months they stay before they stop paying. And that's 3.8 months. So that's a high turnover rate. Mm-hmm. And this is precisely the reason why I started the company 4 years ago. And it's because I was subject to these same dismal numbers in 2010 through 12 when I built the company with a sort of a famous guru, John Assaraf. We ended up with only 12% completion on almost $1,000 product. So that's the history. It's super important to know because if you're going to fall into those margins, then it will be very difficult for you to build what I would call a an effective and a fun business, because an effective fun business is one where when you do training, the vast majority of the people get results. That feels good. That's our purpose. And also when you do that, the vast majority of them will stay with you, and they'll literally buy the second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th course or membership. And that makes it fun because that's where all the profits are. And it takes away so much pressure from always every second of every month trying to figure out where I'm going to get the next client. So there's a big distinction between how most of the people are doing it, which is the struggling way, and it's no fault to them. I'm not blaming anyone because most people don't know what I'm sharing. Yeah. And then when you sort of cultivate a different experience, a learner pathway in a different environment, we're getting like 40 to 80% completion rates. And then for the memberships, people are staying in extended periods of time. So it's important to know that for everyone. Then we can sort of bring this up to more of the, well, I can tell you what we were doing prior to this, COVID global pandemic. And then I can also share what we're doing now, which is my recommendation for most authors, speakers, thought leaders, because it's actually a bit different than what we were doing prior to this.
Well, let me ask you a question that will help me figure that out. Do you think after this all is over, we're going to go backward, or do you think what you're suggesting people do now is the way forward?
So if you don't have any digital training capability today, you're basically temporarily out of business.
Yeah.
If you don't have any digital training capability in the future, then you're a bad business person. Because this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
In one way, shape, or form. I mean, no one likes to listen to the obvious signals. I'm guilty of that myself. I saw the what's his name? Bill Gates, Microsoft special, which is a wonderful special about what he's done, and his wife, the foundation. But he called the pandemic the biggest threat to society 4 years ago. Whatever, I'm a smart guy. I listened to it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know that. That's not in our spectrum or our reality. Well, today it is. As you know, that I survived, my wife survived, my mom and dad are going to be survivors as well. We're in New York City, and then unfortunately there's not a lot of survivors. So as a responsible business owner, you need to be able to take data in and then make adjustments. And so that's why I'm really sharing that, like, coming out of this, if you're a trainer, corporate workshops, live, keynote speakers, or that kind of in-person training, you've got to add the digital component to it. It doesn't replace it, right? Because it's always going to be live, and live is powerful. Live sometimes doesn't do good as a job as digital training, because live's live. So there's entertainment combined with training, and there's experiential aspects of being live. So if you measure the real training content in live performances, it's around 20%. If you measure a properly designed digital course, it should be 60 or 70% real training. So it's all this stuff. I've been really, since we launched the company 4.5 years ago, my sales cycle has been long, because I've been in continual conversations convincing people that digital matched with live is a perfect formula. So I think now, coming out of this very scary time, the convincing shouldn't be done. It should be really, what's the best way that I can make a global impact? That's what we start with.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier, before we even push the record button, that gets backed up to the conversation that we stand in as an organization is how do we create an impact and an outcome for the learner?
Right.
And that's where you have to reverse engineer everything back. So everyone that's listening to this, you have your own specialty, whether it's, family or sales or leadership or, rehabilitation. I mean, whatever it is, you have your own specialty. And then to back it up one further, it's like, okay, if I'm going to ask someone to month be with me, what's going to be the outcome if they stay with me for 3 months or 6 months or a year? And you have to reverse engineer everything to the outcome. Or if I create a course, then what is the main outcome of the course? So when the people make the investment, they invest and trust in me at the end of the 10 lessons, what's going to be the new skill that they can use in their life? Or if it's more soft training, what is a new framework that they can live into? And that's the big message, right? That's the big message.
Yeah.
And that's really the fun part of what we do, is because we get to really engineer that from the place of the learner and then design into the outcome. And then the other thing that's really great about it is that once you go live with your training, that's really the fun part, because it's only the beginning. Meaning that then you're able to look at the data, the results, and the feedback and continually optimize like a mad scientist, and maybe even adding lessons or reshooting things or reformatting quizzes that maybe they were a little confusing. So that's the other part that's so nice, is that it becomes this, dynamic experience where you can keep, ever improving. So there's a lot to unpack in that, but that's
yeah, except I have to tell you, so first of all, I thought that was great, but I also tremendously appreciate that the last thing you said there, because it can evolve. It's not like so for example, you write a book and you spend all this time writing the book and then you publish the book. You can go back and update the book, but that takes a lot of work. So typically the book is the book. Where what I hear you saying is you can always be updating and tweaking and perfecting an online course based on the data that you receive from the people who take it.
Yeah. And I've got a really counterintuitive philosophy that most of the people in the book industry would hate hearing. And that is that you should not write a book first. You should create your course first. And because a book will take you a year or two. And as you get closer to finishing the book, like what you just said, it's permanent in the world. So the last 10% takes as long as the first 90% because it's a mental thing. And true, when you put it out there, like you mentioned, it's basically old news. I started my career in '87 in New York City as a stockbroker. And, we used to get in the office early, but we used to read New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, like whatever they had back then. It was all print. But they would tell you as soon as they got, those papers got dumped on your desk, read them, but they're old news. That's crazy, right? So what you're mentioning about the book situation is the normal route. That's what everyone knows, right? Write a book.
Yeah.
So I say no. I say we can actually work with you with a curriculum design expert that will work with you and either pull information from workshops, recorded videos, go through an interview process, or if you're a trainer and you have expertise, you can do it yourself and we can create the course in 30 to 45 days. We can put it up on your own platform that's branded as your academy or university or whatever you want to call it. And then you can get people in, and then you can iterate and get better. And then you'll be like, wow, what I have now is really producing results. And then you can have somebody take that, which is now proven, and write the book. And you don't have to think about it because it's going to work because it's already working. So it's a completely upside down philosophy. But to me, to do, we always as experts put our best foot forward, right? The more experience you have, the better chance you have of when you launch something at being successful. But at the end of the day, there's no exact formula for success when it comes to training. You just do the best you can. And where it gets exciting is this chance of understanding the information from the learners to make those iterations to get better and better. And if you can do that live, dynamically, and then say, okay, wow, this is working, and then boom, turn it into a book, you could produce a lot of books that would produce really great results. So that's one philosophy with the book that's super powerful. The other philosophy with the book, since we're on books, and you have one coming out, is that you must marry the book with what I call the free VIP book membership. And so a lot of people know this. You've seen books out there that say, if you want more information, go to this website, and then, there'll be some videos there. But what we do is we actually build an experience. And throughout every chapter, we live with one or two sentences that are pertinent to that chapter that say, okay, in this chapter we discussed, tracking your sales. Here's a link. It's a free login. You get your login and password. We have prepared for you a Google document that will help you with that tracking your sales call. In the next chapter, if you're going over how to say hello to the gatekeeper, then at the end of that chapter, you would say, get your free login and password. I did some role playing on video of what it's like to get through the gatekeeper. And so if your book has 15 or 20 chapters, you would have 15 or 20 chances to excite someone so much so that they would then go to the site, put their login and put their email in for a free login and password, and consume and learn more. Now, it's free for them, which is great. But what's super powerful is what it does for us. And that is it helps us extract the book buyers into our community. Because the minute that they get in with their login and password, they're in our site, they're experiencing our training, they're getting most of the stuff is going to be video, they're getting to know you, love you, like you, and trust you as a person. Much different than a book. And I think the word in Japanese is kinjuku. The Japanese made up a word for people that accumulate books with never opening them. So, the vast majority of books are never opened. So this bridges the gap, allows you to build your list and also build, know, like, and trust with the consumer who bought the book because of you. That then allows you to take them into, up-leveling opportunities, the membership or your course. So it's a really neat way. I can call it the book, whatever, VIP free membership.
I have a question for you about that. I mean, I'm really appreciating this. This is great. So would that same, those same videos and behind the password information be available? So is that the same stuff that then you're selling monthly memberships for?
No, this is strictly match to the book, to the chapter.
Okay.
So it's its own experience. And once again, we go back to the outcome question. What's the outcome of, say your book is 15 chapters, what's the outcome of the VIP book membership? Is to provide more data for free, more training for free, and then build the connection with you. So it's not overwhelming. There's not 10 or 20 or 50-minute videos. It's vignettes that are adding value, worksheets, workbooks. I mean, you could even link out to other articles of other thought leaders that you're connected with that would be an interesting addition to what you covered in the chapter. It's just really about adding more value. And then once again, what's the beautiful thing? It's completely dynamic. So because you can actually say, oh, I want to change that video today, or add another video for that chapter. Yes, go ahead. You can have the comments under each video, so you can see what the people's comments are and you can respond back to them. You can create a link that then gets them into a free Facebook group where you can have more fluid conversations in a private Facebook group. So once you sort of suck them from the book into your world, then there's so much value you can add.
That's fascinating. Okay. Now, you mentioned videos. How important are they? Because I'm getting the sense that they're important because then it's for the know, like, and trust thing.
Yes, great question. They're ultra important.
Okay.
Because in the number one way to build a relationship is face-to-face. The second way to build a relationship is one-to-many. So that's in a conference room or you're speaking on a stage. The third way to build a relationship now, as everyone knows, is through Zoom or Google Hangouts or go to webinar where you're like in person. And then the fourth way to build a relationship is by a recorded video. You can add a telephone call in there somewhere, but I would put video, telephone's dynamic. It's somewhere in there as well. The point is that because it's virtually free to distribute information, that what we really want to distribute is not only information that's going to create an outcome, but we want to distribute our relationship capital. And so when someone sees, say, that chapter in the book and they click on it and it goes from just words and maybe your picture on the back little fold to you alive, they get your energy. Yeah. So it's a big thing. We had a woman that owns a parenting company, training company, and also coaching training that goes on top of that. So the parents that are successful, the stay-at-home moms, can get certified and then be in the coaching world. And the course was an extensive course that was all on audio. And she's like, Mike, there's no way I'm recording all those audios on videos. So we said, great. What can we do? We can create a 1 to 3 minute video that goes on each lesson above the audio. And that's what we did. And basically she was, I wouldn't say, very sophisticated with technology. She filmed it on an iPhone on a stand with a microphone that went into the iPhone, and nice background in her house, flowers, whatever. It looked beautiful. And then there was 24-week program. So there was an intro video and there were 24 weeks that people got to see her, listen to her for 1 to 3 minutes before every one of those audios. It made all the world a difference. So that's it.
Okay. Well,
most people are maybe not that comfortable, but I got to tell you, the learners do not care about fancy video shooting. They care about truth and authenticity. And even more so today. I mean, look what's going on today. Everyone's at home with kids yelling in the background, like everybody. Nobody cares about that anymore. They don't. So literally everyone can do it. Everyone's got a good enough phone to do what we need to do. If you have someone in your family that's got, a camera, you can shoot it with a camera. That stuff doesn't matter. What does matter is eyeball to eyeball to really build those relationships.
Okay, but this is a question that I know people are thinking about. So level of professionalism, is there like a floor below which you don't want to go?
Today, no.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, look, you pay attention to your background, It's so funny. I it's really funny. Before I really moved full time into the digital marketing world, it was in the early 2000s. I actually was shooting monthly videos I was managing money for my clients. And I was like, why do I have to call up, 50 or 100 people at the end of every month and tell them what we bought and sold and how we did? I said, this is crazy. So I said, I was working on Wall Street, let me shoot a video and I can do the video. So sometimes we went to the end of Wall Street in front of the stock exchange and shot it. And then sometimes we did it in the conference room, and we sometimes couldn't get the conference room. So we ended up buying a cheap solution. We had Home Depot halogen lights, which I don't recommend for lighting because they get very hot. It was literally dripping down my back with my suit and tie on as 4 halogen lamps from Home Depot put the room at like 100 degrees. But then I made a very crucial mistake, is that we didn't have a backdrop when we couldn't shoot. So we went and got a blue shower curtain. And boy, it looked horrible. And it wasn't that long after September 11th, and people were saying because there was some of those Taliban videos that were so poorly produced. I got a lot of comments. So there is a minimum that you want to hit.
I had a feeling there was.
You don't want to go to that level. No, the shower curtains are definitely out.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk some about content. So I'll use myself as an example. I do a fair amount of in-person training. I have content. I write a lot of articles, I have books. What should I be thinking about when I'm looking at my content to figure out what to do with it to create a course?
All right. So this goes back to the conversation it would have been a different conversation 30 days ago than what I'm having today.
Okay.
So today going forward, I'm in many conversations with thought leaders like yourself who were doing keynotes. Basically everything got, for the most part, for the year postponed.
Yeah.
And prior to this, we built a standalone WordPress-based sites that are your brand. They're beautiful. They're super robust. Probably the most sophisticated, sites in terms of performance that exist. But it was a big project. Our base price was 15 and 20 grand. Curriculum design from a consulting standpoint was like $5,000. To write the curriculum was like $800 a lesson. So it was a big investment. Now, obviously, if you're selling the course for $1,000, it ROIs itself pretty quickly. But nonetheless, at least a 30 to 60 day project, and it was right for then. But where we are today is a different world, and what we've done is we've really created a much different. The entire experience is really what we're sharing with people, and that has to do with not actually focusing on creating courses right now, but creating what we're calling a monthly VIP maximizer experience. Now that can be, you could teach, wood shop. You can teach at home business stuff, so you can launch a business at home, parenting, leadership, anything. So it's a very general name, and what we mean by the maximizer is that we're just simply stating that we're going to help maximize someone's results through this process I'm about to describe. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So during this crisis, the normal thing to do and the responsible thing to do is contract. That means, starting a couple of weeks ago when this hit, we all have to take inventory. And we have to understand where we're at, what was the loss from a business standpoint, whether it's permanent or temporary, and we have to make sure that we can survive the next 30, 60, 90 days. So that's natural, and that is a contraction. And then the next move from a contraction is what we're sharing with people, and that is, in order for you to go from this contraction to thriving, you have to today be the one that's going to come with a solution to your existing customers to a problem that they don't even know they have. That's how you create massive value, and you get a yes. And so, everyone's doing their own thing. You know who your customers are. And then you can imagine those customers from a corporate standpoint are all dealing with absolutely new challenges. Their workforce is home. People are taking pay cuts. Maybe it's a husband and wife that both were working and the kids at daycare, and now they're both working with the kids home with no daycare. So they're not working at maximum capacity because someone's got to take care of the kids. So they're splitting time working. The anxiety and pressures of not having access to everything you normally have. As a management, and from a management level, like, you're managing your people like it's crazy, like you've never done this before. So I was speaking earlier with someone that is a psychotherapist that deals with addiction. And he basically shared that, this is a lot of pressure for people that are, in rehabilitation or have been in the safe zone, so there's a lot, it's all basically new. So your job as a thought leader is to really figure out, what can I put together that's going to provide a solution to the problem that they don't even know they have, where it can be a win-win-win for everybody. And so that's the place we come from. Once again, it has to come from outcome, right? So that's the framework. Now, what we've done is put together a program that is dynamic. And it's not a course, it's a monthly training program. And the monthly training program is designed so for each of the thought leaders that we work with, we're not consuming a massive amount of their time and putting undue pressure on them to perform every month. Because the worst mistake you want to do is make a commitment to someone that, okay, I'm going to do, one Zoom session a week, live, and go get contracts, because after a month or two, you're going to hate your life.
Yeah.
Because this happened with my former partner, because every month it's like, oh no, every week you need to prepare new stuff in your live, and it's a burden. Because most people that are speakers and thought leaders and authors, we're entrepreneurs. We like freedom too. So we design the system and the process where it's monthly training, one time a month. Usually in the first week of the month, you're doing a recorded training. So that takes a lot of pressure off. It can be 10, 20. I just did hours because we're leading by example. I did hours this month. It was all about LinkedIn and how to use LinkedIn to make money in a non-salesy way and a value add way. It turned out it was 55 minutes. So that's long. But I was sharing my screen and going through some of the technology and LinkedIn stuff. So it got long.
Yeah.
I don't advise it that long. So literally 10 or 20 minutes would be really great. That's the theme for the month, because along with that goes a challenge. And why a challenge? Because we're believers that people don't need more information. They need the right information. And not only do they need the right information, they need to actually learn and do. Yeah. That's the experiential part. So if you're teaching Excel, okay, you're going to learn something, and then the challenge is do this with Excel. If you're teaching soft skills like how to be a better parent, then the learn is the tools for the month, and the do is try this and write an essay on your experience. Not that anyone's going to grade it, but it's the do part of it. That's the challenge. So it's one training, it's one challenge, and then the third week of the month, it's a live Q&A, which is the only time that we're live. And it can be like this with the cameras off to take the pressure off. It can be on Zoom. You can have people sending questions ahead of time. And then basically you just stay on and answer, questions, which is a nice way to do it, because you're now matching the capability of people that end up questions throughout the month. They get the questions answered. And for you as a thought leader, you can do that from any place in the world. So it's going to be the third Tuesday of the month at 2 p.m. Eastern. Doesn't matter. Anywhere in the world, you can do it with your phone as long as you have a good internet connection. So we take the pressure away. And then from the learner's perspective, they say, this is the theme for the month. There's a training, a challenge, and the Q&A. And then we also give them something that we love, which is 25 bonus bucks. And each month they accumulate 25 bonus bucks, which then can be used to apply towards any future trainings. Now, we don't have any future trainings because we're just launching this one training right now. But once they start accumulating 25 and 50 and 75 bucks, as long as they keep with you, they get them. If they stop, then they're out. So we also have the ability to put a section called the toolbox, which, if you have things that you want to just make available generally to people. So that's the super tight experience. And the way it works is that you can go to your corporate to give you an idea of the way the program works. Like before, I mentioned that usually we're in the 20 to 25 grand. We're doing this for $5,995, $6,000. Same site, not a throwaway site. WordPress with the main piece of the technology that runs everything. So it's not a throwaway. It's still your brand, you offer your style guide, but now you have the ability to go to your relationships, your corporations or your associations or your small businesses and say, look, I've launched a new program. It's monthly training. Generally, we're going to be covering these topics, but it's meant to be dynamic, meaning that we'll cover this topic and during the Q&A, we'll sort of bubble up and see if there's something urgent we need to cover that next month. It's fluid. It's a repository of information that people can come back to over and over. It's set up in learn and do. So we want people to consume it and do the challenge and acquire new skill sets or a framework to help people be better at blank. And for you, because we're in this tough environment, normally for 500 or 1,000 customers, I would charge, 10 to 20 grand for the year. We'll do it for $5,000 for the year, just to get it in. That's the price. In 90 days or 120 days, when things back to normal, we could have another discussion about what might be fair, because really, as you can imagine, my intention is to get back into training with you so we can make an impact for your employees or the people in your associations because they need it. And this is the solution to the problem that they didn't even know they have that you're providing, which is elegant and simple. And it's basically month to month.
Right.
Here's where I call this strategy of preeminence. All the people that contracted and really don't know what to do. When we come out of this in 30 or 60 or 90 days, it's going to be very similar to a triathlon where people are starting in the water and they blow the whistle and everyone jumps in the water, and you've seen it. They're smashing each other and kicking each other in the head. They're pounding each other. People are gasping for air, all to just get 1/2 body length ahead so they can get some space. And what's going to happen when we come back to somewhat of a normalcy is every author, keynote speaker, corporate trainer is going to be stuck at that starting line, and it's going to be a dogfight because everyone wants to restart. But not for the people that listen to what we're sharing and create the strategy of preeminence, because we already are training. And while what we offer might not make a lot of money, I mean, say if you did it for 10 different clients and it was 2,500 to 5,000, maybe you took in 25 or 30 grand. Well, that's okay, because that'll help us over the next month or two get by. And it's not the big money maker today, but once we get back to normalcy, you can then have conversations about upping the prices or releasing new training. but you're in the driver's seat. You're not in that race with all those people because you're already and have been providing solutions and have the relationships.
Right.
And so it's really, it's a completely new philosophy because it's dynamic. It's fast to market. Literally in a couple of weeks, we can have this up. People can start pre-selling this. If they're uncertain and don't want to take the risk of a $6,000, fine. Go speak to 10 of your customers and get the yes and tell them what the price is going to be. And you're like, fine, I'll be back to you in 2 or 3 weeks with the site for you to check out and for you to give me the credit card. So you can pre-sell it and take the risk away. But the key is finding the solution that you can provide that they don't even know that they actually needed in an elegant way that can be up quickly and just get into training and be dynamic. So that's the super cool thing that we're doing today, which I didn't even thought about in the last 4 years or 4.5 years, anything like that.
Yeah, well, we weren't in this situation. Now, if people are listening and their main client base is small business, is this a process that works for that target audience as well? Because
yeah,
it's not going to be at the same price point.
Yeah, but like the point is that if you work with small business and they have 10 or 20 or 50 customers, then you do it for a couple $1,000s for each small business. That part is kind of fluid because maybe a small business is really in trouble and you do it for 100 employees for free because you want to help them. And then if they get through the other side, you've got a client for life. See, once we have this established and set up, the cost of distribution is almost zero.
Right.
So you can choose to say, okay, you're in trouble. I'll do it for free. It doesn't cost you at that point to do that for free. A small company, 1,000 or 2. Another company, 5,000. Maybe there's a bigger company that's 10,000, or a company that. So that's the really neat thing is that you actually, through those conversations, can provide the perfect offer because there's no real cost once you build it to bring people on, additional people on.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick sponsor break and then
Yes,
I have some more questions for you. Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast is happy to be sponsored by Audible.com. And while many of you probably know that Audible.com has thousands of audiobook titles under their belt, you may not know that they have podcasts and Audible originals, guided meditations, and news, and more. It's amazing, the stuff. Actually, these days, I'm listening to some of the guided meditations because it brings the vibration down, so to speak. And in an odd way, it helps me gain time. So, because I can multitask, if I'm listening to an audiobook, I can listen to it while I'm doing something else. So I can get 2 things done at once. I think you will find if you're not already using it, that it is a great service. And to that end, I would like to offer my listeners a free trial. If you go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, you can sign up for that free trial and you can explore the variety of audiobooks and programs and see what really resonates with you. Today, we're speaking with Mike Weiss about creating online courses and membership sites. Okay, now, are there certain things that affect the profitability of a membership site or a course that people should be thinking about?
the answer is yes, because the model of how to be successful is built on the success that you are getting by servicing the customer. So if you're in the replacement business, meaning that the vast majority of people are not getting results, and you have to keep getting new ones to replace the ones that aren't getting results, then you have a very difficult business model to run. The profitable business model is to focus on the outcome, because then if the vast majority are getting an outcome, then they'll willingly buy your second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th experiences. And when they do that, then it's like 95% profit margins. The profit margin on acquisition of a client, if you're going to go B2C, is probably 15%. If you're going to, be able to smell the small businesses and buy, get 10 or 50 or 100 or 250 of the employees, it's a little bit of different model. But then if you can imagine, after 3 months, if the employees didn't really rave about your program, the small business might not want to up or continue. That's the same, replacement cycle. That's what we want to avoid. So that's why we do everything possible to create an outcome. And when we do that, then the business really takes care of itself. And that's one of the big secrets, because a lot of people try to put courses on Thinkific and Coursera and Kajabi and, Udemy, which is the worst. And it's okay. I would say the only reason it's okay is if you wanted to actually quickly get something up inexpensively to test it. But the reality is, if you're a serious trainer and you have books and you have TED Talks and you're a thought leader, then you need to be branding yourself and not branding someone else's SaaS platform. You need to be able to be a trainer. And when you go to speak to people, you can say, come to mysite.com, and they see that this is the training site. And these are all the programs that you have. And then people have access to them. So that's really the focus. That's really the focus. And when you do it right, it's a great business. It's virtual. It can complement your live stuff, so you don't have to travel as much. The big one I always hear is that you can make money while you sleep.
Yeah.
Because even I have, some folks I've been speaking to that get paid $25,000 a keynote. I know one guy that did a job for one of the 10 largest financial companies. He got a contract for $262,000 for the year. But no matter what, he's trading time for money, because he did his keynote for 2 days, and then every month he's on Zoom twice a month with the leadership for a year. So even though it's $262,000, it's still trading time for money. When you add digital, then it works for you. So those are some of the concepts.
Got it. Okay. And you mentioned a minute ago about, if the people who are taking the course aren't raving about it, it's going to be hard to get the company to sign up for more, whatever. So are there like techniques that you would suggest to get not only customers to upgrade, but to rave about the course? Like, how does someone make that happen?
Totally. So there's paying attention to the content. So, from the month-to-month stuff we described, really focusing on, okay, how do I create an outcome this month, support it with the challenge, the Q&A, and make sure that, you're really teaching specific things that they can work on. From a course standpoint, it's to, really the structure of the design with quizzes and point scoring and leaderboards. And, a big one is digital badges, which unfortunately, I've got to go at the top of the hour, but like I speak about digital badges for like 4 hours. But digital badges are huge as a way to have people focus on, completion versus, just buying a course, which is like a book, and then just kind of poke around a little bit. Accountability and, I call it friction, which means when they log into the site, is the site working for them or against them? Because most people suck at technology. And I'm a technologist, and if you change my update to my phone for like a day or two, I'm frustrated.
Right.
So if you can think about everyone around the world that's on all different devices and all different internet speeds and all different browsers and all different types of computers and all different versions of browsers, it's amazing the internet even works.
Yeah.
So
thank you for that. And I know you have to go, but will you quickly tell the listeners how they can find you, please?
Yes. the best place to find me is on our site at clientengagementacademy.com, where we have a wealth of information free. We've got workbooks free, ebooks free. I do a Weiss Wednesday video training that you can subscribe to, which is free. Also, you can find me on LinkedIn, where we're doing almost daily trainings on LinkedIn. So we're really trying to be of service. And then our VIP Maximizer group, Diane, is free right now for the next 30 or 60 or 90 days. So you can contact us on the site, probably easiest way, contact form and say, I want in for free. And then we don't ask for your credit card. We just say, give us some quick details and you get access. We add value. At some point down the road, we'll have a conversation, but not now.
That is terrific. Thank you so much. And if you have to stop, jump off, go ahead. I'm just going to do a quick wrap up. But I really appreciate the information, Mike. And folks, this is valuable information. It was valuable before all the stuff we're going through. It's even more valuable now. So this is an episode you might want to listen to a couple of times. And I would like to thank our sponsor, audible.com. Get a free trial of audible.com and explore all the audiobooks and programs that are available to you by going to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth to sign up. As always, continue to prosper and be curious. And until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Coming up on 5 Minute News, I'm Anthony Davis. You might think it's partisan because maybe it's critical of one side or the other, but it's not, it's just the truth. And I think that's also something that's kind of unusual for Americans listening to the radio or to podcasts, because the news landscape in the States has been so partisan for so many decades. So 5 Minute News is verified, truthful, independent, unbiased, and essential world news daily.